There was a real life lore style video, real life lore on Guyana that I kind of wanted to watch about Exxon. 3 years ago, Guyana's game-changing oil discovery. Could this become the richest country in the world? Guyana has struck oil, the small South American state. Uh-oh.
Guyana has struck oil. This small South American state, situated to the north of Brazil and the east of Venezuela, has a bright future providing it can manage its coming explosive development properly. The extent of the oil discovery within the 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone off the coast of Guyana
is so funny. Dude, I'm sorry. Listen. You know, hands off Venezuela, no sanctions, right? It's all bullshit. Don't do any of that. But there's nothing funnier to me than having a completely eviscerated economy and having an issue, okay, internally, and pulling the freedom ripcord immediately after your neighboring country is found to have a shit ton of oil. I mean, it goes in either direction.
Hey, look, I found some oil.
Skibbity toilet time, baby. But this time it's a bit like America didn't do that, and they can just go in and be like, oh, we'll help you extract it. Don't worry. Venezuela claimed the territory since the 1800s. Oh shit, never mind then. I guess it's theirs then. Dude, YOLO. I don't know if you guys know this, but I've been claiming literally the entirety of Europe up until Austria. I've been doing that for centuries. It's mine, and it will be mine again. You understand? So I guess that means it's okay. All right.
possibly transform the country, with the estimated oil find dwarfing the state's current $7 billion GDP.
This guy was writing this not knowing what will befall upon Guyana.
Oil exploration in Guyana began in the 1940s. However, things ramped up off the state's coast in 2008 when oil companies such as ExxonMobil, Century Guyana, and CGX began to undertake widespread oil exploration. In 2000, a US geological survey estimated the region had recoverable reserves of more than 13.6 billion barrels of oil and
they should have kept it a secret, dog.
32 trillion cubic feet of gas, the second highest resource potential among unexplored oil basins in the world. The areas thought to contain oil within Guyana's exclusive economic zone have been divided into blocks.
I mean, that's so fucked though. It's like, imagine it's also like easier to refine than Venezuelan oil, like easier to extract and refine than Venezuelan oil. Like, I'd be pissed too. I'm gonna be honest. I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? You know how hard this shit is for us? All of a sudden, this fucking country right next door, like they got this shit. It's yummy. It's yummy. You would do it too. Don't act like you wouldn't do it. You'd be like, what the fuck? Like, let's say you're a maker of hot dogs. Your hot dogs are fine. And like for a while, everybody loves your hot dogs. And then, you know, you realize it's too expensive to make those hot dogs. And you can't actually add new menu items. You don't have like the smoke for French fries or whatever because the potato farmers and the potato sellers are fucking you up and they don't want you to thrive, okay? All of a sudden, next door, your hot dogs now are not selling as much, and it's very difficult. You can't keep up. Now, next door, you got hot dogs at half price. The fuck? I'd be like, all right, those are my dogs, man. Fuck you. I'm taking over your dogs.
In May 2015, ExxonMobil announced that it had discovered oil-bearing sandstone reservoirs which could produce up to 700 million barrels of oil, with a total market value of $40 billion, within the Stabroek oil block, situated 200 kilometers off of the Guyanese coastline. In the following 3 years, Exxon went on to discover a further 4 billion barrels of oil equivalent in the Stabroek block, which has since been doubled to 8 billion in 2020. In the wake of the findings in 2015, in 2016, the Guyanese government signed a deal with ExxonMobil worth $325 billion for a drilling license within Stabroek, giving it access to the now 8 billion barrels of oil equivalent. The deal of a lifetime for Guyana, perhaps.
I don't know about that. I don't know if it was a deal of a lifetime or like a deal that is supposed to last a lifetime, like far too long.
Not entirely the case. International watchdog Global Witness has pointed out that ExxonMobil may have pressured the Guyanese government into a rush deal which would deprive the country of $55 billion. According to Global Witness, Guyanese authorities did not negotiate strongly with ExxonMobil, which has a profit stake of 48%, while the Guyanese government has a profit stake.
What Guyana should get In the new Stabroek deal, 168 billion. Exxon gets 157 billion with 52% Guyana share. The renegotiated license would have 69% Guyana share, up to $55 billion extra. Surely Venezuela will make this right.
This would be abnormally low when compared with other similar cases where states normally receive 65 to 85% of profits, meaning Guyana would receive $168 billion instead of a potential $223 billion.
That's so nasty, dude. That's so disgusting.
The issue of the oil deal has permeated Guyanese politics. A snap general election was held in March 2020 after a vote of no confidence in David Granger's PNC government in 2018. The deal with ExxonMobil and terms it was agreed upon were at the heart of the election, with many in the press calling this latest election the most important since the state's independence in 1966. In a controversial election, where it was initially thought that the PNC government which had signed the 2016 deal with Exxon had won, the People's Progressive Party led by HasanAbi ultimately came out on top. The PPP victory early this year will most certainly have implications for oil deals, with the Ali-led government expected to take a tougher negotiating position on behalf.
You know what? No matter what, they should not decide after ExxonMobil has like set up the facilities to nationalize. I'll tell you what they shouldn't do, because I've seen that game. Let me tell you a thing. Don't go back on the deal. I am joking, of course. They should. They fucking fuck ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil can suck and fuck me, okay? From the back. Suck my dick from the back, ExxonMobil. Guyana, immediately get nukes, number one. And then, when you get the nukes, you should fucking be like, hey, yeah, this is my oil refineries, actually. Sorry. We have democratically voted to nationalize, which I think is fair. HasanAbi doctrine, baby. Let's go. You support oil production? Honestly, I didn't know that. I do not. However, I also believe that nations have a right to develop themselves, and nations have a right to, utilize their natural resources. Clearly, oil production in general, across the board, is not a good thing. It's not a good thing for the planet. But if we're not going to be able to stop it, what do you want me to do?
Most importantly, as of 2019, Guyana is South America's second poorest nation, having a GDP of $7.1 billion. Moreover, 40% of the country's inhabitants live below the poverty line, and half of the population is under the age of 16. The current GDP per capita in Guyana is just under $5,000. However, things are changing due to the expected oil boom, and rapidly. According to BBC News, Guyana's GDP could grow by between 300 to 1,000% by 2025, making it one of the richest countries in the world in terms of GDP per capita. In 2020 alone, before the advent of the coronavirus pandemic, Guyana's economy was predicted to grow by up to 86%, up from 4.4% in 2019. To put it simply, Guyana's relatively small population of 750,000 people could suddenly find themselves on the receiving end of a lot of cash. However, despite the state's promising discovery off of its shores, many analysts and experts are worried, citing fears over the so-called oil curse, which has afflicted countries such as neighboring
Guyana is one of the fakest countries in the world, as it was set up as a slave sugar plantation. Yeah, I know, but like, what are you supposed to do? Like, they're there. People tried to talk about Guyana under like, as though it's the same as like Israel, which is such a fucking wild thing to say, because motherfucker, you think like the Indian and the Chinese and the people that were brought there wanted to be there in the same way that like Israelis wanted to, or well, not Israelis, but Jewish people were participating in the settler colonial project? No, those guys were brought there as slaves, dog. They were brought there as fucking indentured servants and slaves. Fake country, literally every Caribbean country is the same. Imagine Cuba trying to annex Jamaica. They would never. Yeah, it's not an accurate comparison at all. And like, they're just chilling for the most part. Yeah, 99% of Guyana are black, Indian, or mixed descendants of those slaves. Exactly. They're just chilling. And then now they found, some fucking fresh ass oil, which of course immediately is going to lead to complications. I was looking at like Democracy Now! Coverage over it, and it's like 2 years ago. Democracy Now! Being like, Guyana finding oil is going to be devastating for its future, both from a climate change disaster standpoint, but also because everyone is going to want to fuck it up. This is literally Killers of the Flower Moon, dude, but an entire country.
Venezuela, despite its huge oil find and subsequent substantial increase in wealth, has faced economic and political turmoil in recent years, suffering from what experts call Dutch disease, where a sudden increase in income and national wealth has a destabilizing effect. The country is currently in the midst of an ongoing political and economic crisis, which has seen intense hyperinflation and shortages of food and medicine. In Guyana, experts and analysts speculate that the sudden increase in oil wealth could increase inequality if it is not shared amongst the populace or spent on much needed public works such as roads, hospitals and schools. To avoid the so-called oil curse, or Dutch disease, the Guyanese state must be careful in its distribution and allocation of funds as to not create destabilizing economic inequality like in Venezuela.
Did you say destabilizing economic inequality like in Venezuela? What the fuck? Okay, that part I don't fully agree with. I think Venezuela's problem was one of mismanagement, certainly, but not due to like economic inequality, like rampant economic inequality. If anything, the elimination of certain economic hurdles was one of the most prescient and one of the most popular moves that the Chavez government did that kept his legacy alive even to this day. And it even maintains Maduro's like base of support, I guess, the Chavistas. I mean, this is like, I don't know how important this part is. I guess it is important to me, but it's so gross that Exxon is like, oh, you got oil? Sure, we'll give you 52% and you'll take it. No, don't worry. We're going to set up the facilities. We're going to enslave your population. We're going to cut deals to ensure that probably the government is not the government gets like separate corrupt contracts or corrupt bribes, pocket it, distribute the resources evenly. I say 15% at most. 15% at most. The fuck is this shit? What is it? What do you mean 48%? That's not yours. Like, I don't understand it. And even if it was 15% at most, that's still an unimaginable amount. Like, that's still probably gangbusters levels of profit. Fuck it. Fuck 15%. I take it back. It's 5%.
Guyana's oil discovery has not gone unnoticed by its neighbours either. Following a long history of border disputes, Venezuela has refused to relinquish its territorial claims in Guyana, which include over 2/3 of the state's current territory. The discovery of oil in Guyanese waters has only increased tensions. This territorial claim on land, by nature, also extends off of the coast of the disputed region, where much of Guyana's oil find is located, and Venezuela has been keeping its claim alive. In 2015, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro issued a decree claiming sovereignty over part of what would be considered Guyanese waters under usual practice of international law, which included a large portion of the Starbrook oil block. In 2013, the Venezuelan Navy seized an oil exploration vessel operating in the Guyanese exclusive economic zone, claiming that the vessel was operating within the Venezuelan EEZ. In 2018, after another similar maritime incident to that of
Guyana and Venezuela conflict is not what we needed right now. That doesn't work. It's not the same as Guyana and Israel.
2013, Guyana decided to take the dispute to the International Courts of Justice at The Hague, seeking a ruling on the issue of maritime boundaries. Despite this, in 2019, Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro argued that the ICJ did not have jurisdiction over the dispute and that the country would not partake in proceedings, meaning that much of Guyana's EEZ and the oil contained within it is still claimed by Venezuela. The case was due to begin oral proceedings in 2020. However, the coronavirus pandemic has delayed events. If the case cannot be resolved by the ICJ, it will go to the UN Security Council for resolution.
I don't think Brazil lets this shit slide, is all I'm going to say. Not a good idea in general for Venezuela to get involved like this.
Should Venezuela choose to ignore international law, the dispute could be resolved bilaterally between the two states. However, this is incredibly unlikely, as the dispute provides Venezuela with domestic and international political capital. As of September 2020, the United States has announced that it will join the Guyanese Navy on patrols in the disputed area.
Oh, dude, thank God. Oh, that's what I was thinking. Thank God. I wonder why. Oh, that's right, because they love defending nation states. That's what it is. And certainly has nothing to do, absolutely nothing. Don't ever say that this has everything to do with ExxonMobil's contract and protecting it. Do not say that. It is only about freedom and only about democracy. Don't even say it. It's about Guyanese integrity. Nations have a right to engage in self-determination. Nations have a right to have autonomy. America loves democracy. Don't you fucking say it. in collaboration with the Guyanese Defense Force and Southcom, U.S. Southern Command, we're conducting flight operations within Guyana on December 7th. Hell yeah, baby. So fucking cooked. So unimaginably cooked. Here, the Guyanese president literally fucking talked to Al Jazeera about Guyanese oil. A curse?
Guyana call it the land of many waters in their native language. It's rich in biodiversity as well as minerals.
Guyana and Suriname are two of the most interesting countries on the planet. I will admit, I only found out about Guyana after dating someone who was Guyanese, and only found out about Suriname after going to Amsterdam, as a matter of fact. I literally didn't know that Suriname was a country. Former colonies, in my opinion, one of the most unique countries on the planet. It is entirely comprised of like former slaves and indentured servants. It is here. Let's look at the demographics so you get a better understanding of Guyana specifically. It's very interesting. Officially, the Cooperative Republic of Guyana is a country on the northern mainland of South America. The capital city is Georgetown. You might recognize that name. Don't look too too deep into it. Guyana is bordered by the Atlantic Ocean in the north, and Brazil in the south, the southwest, Venezuela to the west, and Suriname to the east. Guyana is the only South American nation in which English is the official language. However, the majority of the population speak Guyanese Creole, an English-based Creole language, as a first language. Guyana is part of the Anglophone Caribbean. Let's look at the ethnic group demographics for you to understand how fucking nutty this shit is. Guyana is, despite being, as you saw, right here on the fucking global map, 40% Indian, 30% African, 19.9, 20% multiracial, which is comprised of Indian and African, 10.5% indigenous, and 0.5% others. 54.2% of the country is Christian. 31% is Hindu. 7.5% Islam. Bro, what? I'm Indian and I've never even heard of it? Yeah. Straight up like Indian, not like American understanding of Indian, like straight up from India. I'm from Venezuela and I didn't know that. Wait, really? That's so funny. People saying, what about Gurlana? Yeah, Gurlana is probably better than Guyana, but it's all we got. I mean, it's the same as Suriname. There's a lot of right-wing Indians who want to move to Suriname or Guyana because it's more Hindu than India. Lol. Suriname is similar to Guyana as well. That's just like former colonies. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, the name Guyana comes from the indigenous Amerindian language and means land of many waters. The word cooperative in the official name refers to cooperative socialism. That's the other part of Guyana, is that it's not like kind of chill. I think they have a ML party that is in charge, if I'm not mistaken.
Irfan Ali, President of Guyana, thank you for talking to Al Jazeera.
Thank you very much.
This motherfucker's got American socks on, dog. I don't trust him.
I'm very pleased to be here.
Let's start by talking about oil, the big topic these days here in Guyana. In 2015, when this big offshore oil deposit was discovered, what did you think?
We always knew the potential for hydrocarbon was there, but it came with great enthusiasm for us as a country because we are all aware of the potential of hydrocarbon in helping to transform economies and helping to put in key investment that can make your economy sustainable and so on.
When a country gets this kind of resource, sometimes they nationalize it. I suspect you didn't do that because of the time and expertise that would have been involved, but couldn't you explain to me why that wouldn't have been advantageous, might have given you more control, right?
First of all, for us, it is not about control. It is about having the best possible outcome for the country and the people. We don't believe that looking at best practices, that we should move into a state control sector. We believe that the best formula is one in which the government seek to have the best possible policies, agreements in place that will give the country and its people the great.
He's like, I would never. Are you kidding me? I would never even think twice about such a prospect. Get out, sir. Get out of here, sir. I would never nationalize.
Very clear that we're focusing on diversifying the economy, positioning Guyana as a leader in the region, if not the leader in.
Bro, I don't know. He kind of sounds like, once I get this money, this socialism shit is over. Like, this is the Marxist-Leninist dude. Or like Moneybag Loverist is fucking the ML I believe in. Ali was also indicted on 19 charges of other fraud for allegedly defrauding the state for over 174 million between 2011 and 2015. A majority of Guyanese parties are at least social democratic to democratic socialist. The People's Progressive Party does have a significant ML faction in it. Yeah, South American politics are very different than America, where, for the record, I just want to point that out real quick. Like, Maduro's opposition also is a democratic socialist faction, or was historically. So, like, that doesn't always mean it wasn't. Wait, actually, Guaido quite literally is from a quote unquote socialist party. So that doesn't really mean much in Latin America. Dude, actually, the real five-head is, now that I'm letting my position be known that I'm anti-Maduro annexing Guyana, so that all of the fucking neolibs will now be pro-annexation of Guyana and will allow Maduro to get his money up. You know what I mean? Because they're like, Hasan, whatever Hasan says, I'm the opposite of. So they're going to be pro-fucking, this way we're going to get Maduro out the mud, boys.